Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Vanna. We're continuing our chat with Rudolf. We spoke about Rudolf, the geopolitical situation, impact on supply chains within South Africa, but from a cybersecurity perspective, right? Also a very, very big thing. I mean, cyber attacks. Obviously there's syndicates, ransomware as a service kind of things, and there's obviously state-sponsored things that is happening. How does all of this shape within the South African context right now?
So with all the instability in the global geopolitical environment, we've definitely seen in our customer base a big uptake or upswing in cyber attacks. And it's been kind of a growing trend, steadily growing. And then suddenly there's been like a massive explosion. And one of the key trends that we're also seeing is it's not just the financially motivated. You were talking about the syndicates and the ransomware attacks, where it was very much a financially motivated crime, if you want to call it that. And what we're seeing now, especially in South Africa, is there's a very big upswing in politically motivated cyber attacks, where there's action groups or hacker groups that are aligned with East-West sentiments. And depending on the announcement of the day, you can be in the firing line or under the target for either one of these groups. And it's very, very difficult to protect against that because it's not a financial thing.
No, it's ideology driven.
It's ideology driven. And the gain is not to get money out of it. It is to make things as difficult as possible.
Yeah.
So
it's an act of terrorism.
It's exactly that. I mean, we saw that Iran announced that with this whole war, they're now going to focus on, for example, the Middle Eastern banking sector is going to be their target from a concerted war effort, cyber attack effort, and it's not just limited to that. So, and again, from the Western side, the same thing. We'd be naive to think that the Western powers don't have their own hacking action groups and cyber warfare divisions that are actively busy with this. So it is very, very much a thing where it is growing. And we can't think and live in a mindset that it won't happen to us. No. It's we've been kind of harping on it for a while to say that it's not a question of if, but when.
Yeah.
And everybody is a target.
Yeah, and I guess you could quite unintentionally just be in the firing line.
Yeah.
Based on an association to a certain 100%. Kind of body or a certain kind of thing. So. Yeah. So, the non-alignment is very, very difficult in this case, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's been brought out in the news recently in terms of South Africa as a whole. And we're not here to talk politics, but in terms of how it impacts our industry 100%. And how it affects our businesses and our ability to function.
And it's not even a South African challenge. It's about personal. You could have people in an organization that are leaning to one or the other side, and social media posts, LinkedIn posts, things like that, which can be picked up by the wrong person, interpreted the wrong way, which could make your organization a target because an individual is affiliated to you.
Yeah.
And it becomes very tricky to navigate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's not something that you have control over, and also it's not but unfortunately this is a threat, and it has been noted that these things happen, and like you rightfully say, is that money is a powerful driver, but ideology is even more so. So in terms of being aware of these things, that's the first step. Obviously having an awareness of this, making sure that you have a response plan around those types of elements as well is key going forward.
Yeah, look, in the past, we kind of went from cyber attacks being seen as almost kind of the same disaster type level thing with a DR and a recovery plan. Then it became around kind of active protection and how do you protect yourself from. Now it's become more of the cyber resilience, and it's not how do you protect yourself, it's how do you recover. So it's kind of sitting and defining. There's that concept of the minimum viable organization, where what are the key things that IT need to provide to business to make sure that an organization can meet its customer and legal obligations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of those key things, that's termed the minimum viable organization. And is how do you get back to an operational state as quickly as possible after an attack? And one of the key things as well is people think that, oh, we've got immutable snapshots, immutable backups. We can just do a recovery from that. But how do you make sure that the data that you recover is clean, hasn't been infected, hasn't been corrupted, hasn't been altered? So it is making sure that you have a plan and a process in place. And it's not just a technology challenge. It is very much a business process, and it covers multiple facets in an organization, multiple teams in an organization, and making sure that that response plan is in place so that when that attack hits, everybody knows what to do. Everybody knows who to contact. Who's got the kill switch? If that system needs to be brought offline, who's got the power and the kill switch? If that person who's got the kill switch is sitting on a plane somewhere or is out of contact, out of reach, it happens at 3 in the morning, is not answering his phone, what do you do?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is we unfortunately living in a world where just as for your family, you need to have an emergency plan,
100%.
right? If something happens at your house, and putting some mitigation factors in and that type of story, businesses have the same or subject to the same kind of environment, right? We have that. So, enhancing those or re-looking them at them and making sure that you're covering these new types of threats. And as the world is shifting, that your plans are relevant to those 100%. New threats that are coming up. So I think, we, like you say, we've seen definitely that there's a potential for these threats coming in or changing the nature of how they are being exposed. And we're not even talking about anything that is super sophisticated. We're just talking about the driving factors behind these threats that are shifting and opening up new vectors of attack.
100%.
Yeah. Rudolph, very interesting, very timeless, I think, to discuss these types of points. And we thank you so much once again for joining us on.
It's always a pleasure.
Then, yeah.
Thanks
everyone for listening.
Thanks, everyone.